Hey traders, this is a market update. I'm Jeff Pierce from ZenTrader.ca, and I've got lots of charts, so let's get to it. Here we've got an S&P daily, and here's what the way I look at it is: you've got a market that's doing what it should. The RSI is oscillating between the levels 80 and 40. It came down, bounced off. We are now under the 50-day moving average, and so the question is, do we find resistance here? And then head back to previous highs. You've got 2 days of rallies that the volume was so light, it's really hard to say whether or not it counts for anything. A day like Friday when the markets rally on barely any volume on news, I like to wait to see how the markets react the day after any significant news, whether it be jobs, whether it be Fed report, the Fed's report, or whether it's like an earnings for an individual stock. Sometimes it can be the day after that release. It really gives you some kind of indication. My timing signal is negative for the three markets that I follow. It issued an additional sell short on Wednesday after the close, although I was out all day and I didn't get it until Wednesday. I didn't issue it until way late in the evening, so really the earliest anybody could have acted on it would have been Friday's open. But I also had a caveat: is the fact is I like to add to shorts at much lower levels, not pretty much right where the first one is. So if you were short here, then not to add. If you chose not to, then now would be a good time, because you have limited risk. Because if this goes above this level, this is going to be a serious no-no in terms of whether or not that this is actually going to hold true. I mean, you have an RSI that's doing what it's doing in terms of not getting up into the overbought levels, and that's what you don't want to see if you're bearish, like here and here, in terms of for more follow through coming. It looks like a market that's going to roll over, and that's almost my problem with it. Is it almost looks too easy. We have a new moon Sunday night, and that could issue a change in trend, much like what we saw here. But that doesn't have to happen. I mean, this looks like constructive behavior, but again, volume was minuscule. It's not too much to write about. Let's see here. I mean, this looks pretty much like the same chart on the Nasdaq, where although it's weaker because it's not as close to previous highs, and it just, it's forming. If you really want to get down to it, negative. Like if you could pretty much draw a line all the way down here, and it's just negative divergence on the RSI. So, and again, that's not a good sign. What we really need to see is some kind of strength if the bulls want to take charge of this market. If not, it probably will just roll over on lack of news. I think earnings start at the end of this month, so maybe there's just sideways trading for the rest of this month. It's been pretty boring in my opinion. From a momentum trader's point of view, I have not been really seeing any new setups, and that's a problem. I used this pullback to establish some long positions in stocks I wanted to hold longer, but I'm not seeing any new stocks, and that's really an issue, because for me that's a good barometer of the health of the markets. Let's see here. I don't really have much to say about that. The last thing I really wanted to talk about, in the currencies, the dollar has been the story. We're breaking out to multi-year highs here. You can see this here on this 5-year weekly. You can see it better here on this daily. It's really broken out of this range it's been in, and I'm not sure what this means for the general markets. Sometimes it correlates to it, sometimes it doesn't. But and you can see here in the euro is as equally weak as the dollar is strong, and it looks like it still has room to potential fall down here to the 126 level before it finds any meaningful resistance. And given the strength in the dollar, I think that any bounces in this are going to be shorted, because the dollar looks really strong. Looks like it's come a long way. I'd like to see it consolidate sideways, but I think that this can go a lot further than people think it can.